Welcome back to the Mulberry Book Drop. Hey, Bethany.
Hi, Sarah.
How's it going?
So good, so good.
Yeah. What have you been up to? What have you been doing? I feel like it's been 5 years since we've met.
It always feels like that when we come to record.
Yeah.
I've actually been getting back lately.
Gardening.
Yeah, pulling some weeds. My back gardens have gotten kind of bad, so I had to get out there. Found some dog toys, some of the plants, they all just, you think you get like this cute little thing and it looks really nice for a year or two, and then they start growing out of the garden and they're in your yard. So I was clearing a bunch of that out.
Gotcha. Do you replant or?
No, some of them, they just grow and grow and grow. So, yeah. Some of them you can just kind of let them go. But there was actually a patron I was talking to, and they were like, oh, wait. And I was like, you can come take what you want. So
I love that for you. I love that for them.
Yeah, I'm fine with sharing them with people I know if they actually want some. But they're called, I think it's the birds of paradise. They're these really tall, cool looking flowers.
Yep.
But they just reproduce just, it's insane. So there's a lot of them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's our big thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I moved closer to you.
Stalker.
And I went to the Elvis concert that the city put on at the Gym Theater.
I saw some videos. It looked really fun.
So much fun. Dwight Eisenhower is just absolutely fantastic. And he remembered me. He remembered me from the last time.
How could he not?
But he remembered me from the last time that I worked the Elvis show. And I said, stop it, Elvis. Oh, my goodness. And I did wear my sparkly boots, like my real sparkly.
And now he will remember you forever.
And I got so many comments on it. And I said, I didn't realize that many people looked at my feet, but okay.
Now, were you in the auditorium? Did he do the scarf thing again? Where
He sure
gave the scarf
did.
Out?
I was in the lobby for the majority of it. But then for the second act, I knew that the scars would be coming out.
Okay.
And I had to go in and see it.
Because that was fun.
And when I tell you, it is just so absolutely fun seeing grown adults get to relive those moments. And it's like, you know what? Everyone's young at heart, and getting to experience that and witness it, I just loved it.
Yeah.
So, and it was a fun show, and
That's cool.
Everyone had such a great time, and everyone kept commenting on how great the Gym Theater looks. And I said, right? I said, I know. They did such a great job.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's get down to why we're here today.
Okay.
Now, is this topic a topic that you're comfortable with, or
I mean, I'm always comfortable talking about books.
Yeah.
So I would say yes.
Okay.
Is it a topic I'm super familiar with? That's a different question.
Okay.
And I would say not so much, but I'm going to go with this and we're going to have fun.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So for the folks at home or in their car, today's topic is dragons. I feel like this is a long time coming, because I feel like dragons are not taking over the world, but I feel like they're coming back.
They're having their moment.
Yeah, and I'm here for it because I love dragon books. I've recently gotten back into them along with everyone else, but growing up, I was a huge fantasy book person, and if there was a dragon and it went to the top of the list, I just loved fantasy as a teenager. And first off, dragons, come on. I mean, rawr. So Bethany did that before I started the podcast, so I had to add that in there.
If I could figure out how to make a fire breathing sound, I would have done that for you, but I don't know.
Without just blowing your breath.
Turn it into some weird ASMR thing. It'd be so strange.
No, thank you. So
I do remember I was remembering this as we were driving here, and I don't want to say the title of the book because I don't want to diss an author or anything, but there was someone else we know who's obsessed with dragons, and all I remember is they were so excited about this new dragon book that came out, and they read the whole book, and they were so angry because the dragon was only there for pages.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
because I thought about it yesterday.
The people do love the book,
yes.
And so I don't want to diss the book. So I'm not. If you want to come ask me, you can come to the library and ask us, and we'll tell you. But I'm not going to say it on here because it's super popular author, popular series, all of that stuff. But I just remember how disappointed they were, and they were so upset that they read these hundreds of pages to only have the dragon for a handful.
I remember this person's exact reaction of, well, where's the dragon?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, okay, so note to self, I probably won't read that one.
Yeah.
And that's okay because I have other books that I can read. So, with this, of course, knowing us, we've come to you with a list of dragon books. And I just feel like I would be banished from the reading world if I don't start with and do not judge me because I might pronounce some of these wrong because again in fantasy books there are either made up words or words that I don't use.
Or ones
So
that we can't pronounce where we
that part.
just refer to the person in our head by the first letter.
That part. And so the first one is the Empyrean series, and that is the Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm. It's going to be a 5-book series, but only 3 are out so far. The third one actually came out in January, and of course I've already read it. But it's by Rebecca Yarros. So I kind of have a little synopsis for you for Fourth Wing. Enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history, but now the commanding general, also known as her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than candidates, most would kill Violet to better their own chance of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Xaden Ryerson. I said that wrong, but it's fine. The most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers, everyone at Basgiath War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only 2 ways out: graduate or die. Dun 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 dun.
The drama.
Dun 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 dun. I know. So what I wrote about this was the book series has made me feel things that a book hasn't made me feel in a really long time. Like that feeling of, oh my goodness, what happens next? I feel like these are my friends. It made me fall back in love with fantasy books because I haven't really read them since high school, and I feel so attached to the characters, and I've cried a lot along with everybody else that's read them. When I talk to people about these books, we often talk about how these books feel so differently than every other fantasy book that we have read. And Rebecca Yarros has created a world so well, and she's actually a romance author first. And I just find that mind blowing. She's already announced that the series will be 5 books. In the latest book, Onyx Storm, when it came out in January, the way I described it is that there's usually one book in a series where you get more of a backstory and a history and get to know the side characters more. And this was that book.
Okay.
And she's made the comment that in between these books, she puts out a new book in her original genre. So we won't see the 4th book for probably 2 years, but we love a self-care queen. So it's okay. We fully support her. Even if we're like, what do you mean? Because the last page of Onyx Storm, I'm going to have to go to therapy for it.
Little cliffhanger.
Oh my goodness. I said, I'm sorry, what?
But see, that's how they keep you.
Mm-hmm. And so, honestly, I read the first 2 books, I read them twice last year each. So I'll probably just reread them and reread them and reread them until the next one comes out. So I might have them memorized. It's fine. Sorry, I feel very emotional about this book series. Very invested. My friends, my sister-in-law, we all read it. We all love it. Hey, anyways, you can go.
Hang in there, Sarah.
Thanks.
Well, okay, so I was thinking when you said dragons, and I was like, oh no. And so I started thinking, I know I've read some dragon books, which ones were they? And the one that kept coming back to me was, I didn't have cable growing up, so I had to go to my neighbor's house to watch cable shows or whatever, right? And all I remember is there was always this movie that was on, and so we would watch it, and it was The Neverending Story.
Oh, yeah.
And so I always remember the dragon from The Neverending Story. It was Falcor. He was a luck dragon, and she owned the book, and I remember borrowing the book. And so the whole premise is there's it's kind of a book within a book. But so there's like this strange book that pulls this like lonely kid into another world, and thus begins this like magical journey, right? So I don't know. I was a baby when it was published. I definitely watched the movie first a couple of times before I ever read the book. And I really remember the image of Falkor because of the movie. But the book and the movie are actually very different. And when I was getting ready for the episode, I learned that the author sued the production company.
Oh.
I know, right? Because he wanted to have his name removed from the credits. And the reason was that in the book, the people and the creatures of Fantasia, they can't go outside of Fantasia, but in the movie, they do.
Mm.
So he was very upset about that. And so it was these obvious changes like that. He was like, I don't want my name associated with this. So I thought that was kind of fascinating because obviously I didn't know this back then.
Interesting.
But then it also makes me wonder, like, why do they make these obvious changes sometimes with, like,
Right.
because there's this huge fandom for the book. Mm-hmm. So like, why would you make this huge change? That's so crazy to me. But I don't know. I've talked to a few people recently, and I don't necessarily know that the movie holds up compared to some of the things that we have available to us nowadays. But I think sometimes it's fun to look back at something that was made in the 80s or whatever and share it with your kids and be like, this was the world before CGI, like when there were actually people creating these like cool monsters and masks and puppets and all of these things. And I don't know, I just remember it was always this really fun world to escape into. And so that's my original dragon.
Yeah, my brother was obsessed with that movie when we were growing up.
Was he?
So, and it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly care for it.
Yeah.
But my brother absolutely loved it. Every time that we go to my dad's house, it was on.
Well, and I can't even begin to express how excited we were when any of you Stranger Things fans, sorry, when they used the song. I mean, oh my
Dusty
goodness, did that like just every ounce of child that was still inside of me was like, and I just was singing that song over and over in my head. It as they say, it lived rent free for a while in my brain, and I was not mad about it.
That is my favorite scene from Stranger Things.
It's so good.
And that song was actually on my gym playlist for like a solid 2 years.
See, so it's still relevant.
Yeah.
I mean,
like that song was, it was a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that qualifies, right? So there's my first dragon book.
Love it.
Okay. Do you want me to do my other one real quick too? Because I don't know what else you have to share with us. Okay. So the other one, this one, you're kind of meeting high school Bethany.
Ooh.
So bear with me. Beowulf. Have you ever seen the movie or read the book?
No.
Okay. It's, it's maybe not for everyone. But I was forced to read it in high school.
Okay.
And so I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure there was a dragon. So Grendel is the character that like I recall the most, not the dragon, but I think he was the first one because in the book, if I recall correctly, and if anyone knows better than me, please feel free to send us an email and I'll correct myself on a later episode. But I think there was like 3 monsters that he had to battle. And like, I think Grendel was the first one. And then I think it was like Grendel's mom or something like that. But the third one, I think, was the dragon. And so Beowulf actually had to go and like fight this dragon and all that kind of stuff. And the reason I remember it is I'm pretty sure that was the battle that we spent the most time on in our class. I don't know. So this is kind of out there. But I was looking it up, and they have actually made not just one, but they've made Beowulf like there's like 2 movies, I think.
Like a remake?
Like, yeah. Oh. So I was kind of surprised. And they're like big name actors that are in them. And I'm like, maybe I want to watch this. Yeah.
I feel like people ask for it all the time at the library.
Yeah. And I looked it up, and like Beowulf is still like really highly reviewed, like star ratings and stuff on a lot of the review sites and things like that. So I'm almost like, I don't know if I could read it again, but I will say I'm a little curious to maybe see if I can get the audiobook.
Okay.
So, yeah. So Beowulf. Okay. I'm definitely not up with like the current dragons.
The current dragons. It's okay, because listen, we love a little throwback.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's my middle grade dragon and my adult dragon.
Okay. They just, wow.
I know.
All right. So I'm going to jump into another series, and it actually comes from our young adult section, and it is the Inheritance Cycle series by Christopher Paolini. Did I say that right?
Yeah, my a couple of my kids have read those.
Yes. So there's 5 books in the series. I'm 1000% going to butcher these names, and I'm sorry, but it will be in the show notes. But Aragon's the first book, so a lot of people are very familiar with Aragon. Eldest, and then Brissinger, Inheritance, and Murtagh. There's also a book, actually, it's like 4.5, but it's The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm. So this one is One Boy, One Dragon, A World of Adventures. So I've read the first book, which was Aragon, and I read it for the first time in high school. My grandma used to take me to the flea market when I lived down in Manatee County, and there was this big, huge book, like little store that was in the flea market, and like the books were like 25 cents a piece, and there was Aragon, and it was actually the movie cover that was on the cover, and I said, wow, this boy's really cute.
I forgot there was a movie.
There was a movie. Yep. I think the people that created the movie want to forget that there's a movie. But I grabbed the book and I read it and I loved it. And then I actually re-listened to it a few years ago. I want to say like 2020. And I didn't love it as much. But I think it's because with fantasy books, I can't do audiobooks because of all of the world building and all the different characters. It's great for character names and for words that I can't pronounce and have no idea how to pronounce. But I was like, you know what? I think I want to reread it. And I think I want to go on with the series because there's 5 books and he was really young when he wrote it.
Yeah, I think like, if I remember correctly, he was like 16 when he wrote, right, or when the first one was published, or written, something like that. Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, to be 16 and because like a 16-year-old, of course, I love reading that kind of stuff, but like to come up with that world, I just so fascinating, and I like while I was thinking about this episode and like putting things together, I was thinking about how cool it is that dragons aren't a new thing. Because like the things that you're talking about, you know, like, but the way that authors can take a dragon and like change a little bit, and it just creates this whole new like dimension to dragons. And then when you watch movies and you're like, whoa, like I've never seen a dragon do that, or what do you mean? And how they can change it to fit their story. I think it's just the coolest thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can also take sometimes like the mythology of other like cultures and their dragons and stuff, like because Falkor, if I remember correctly, was a luck dragon, and I think he was based on it might have been like a Chinese dragon or something like that. And so it's kind of cool when you pull from other, so learning all of those little things, it's cool.
And like if I remember correctly, in both Aragon and the Fourth Wing series, when you're like bonded to your dragon, like you can talk to each other like in your heads, and I'm just like, what? Like, just imagining, like, my thoughts, but then all of a sudden someone pipes in, and they're like, excuse me, like, get it together kind of thing. So I think that's the coolest thing. And yes, there was a movie made. And it kind of stinks because I actually like the people that were, like, cast for all these roles, and I just don't think the movie did well, and they never moved on and never created more movies. And I was like, but there's more books. So this is actually something that I do hope kind of gets picked back up and they redo a movie for it, because I think that'd be cool. I
wonder if they would ever consider doing a TV series, because isn't it Percy Jackson? They did a movie.
They did too, yeah.
Which was like, people were like, meh, it's okay. But then they did the TV show, and like we did see the first season of the TV show, and it was super fun. Like, and I think there might be a second season coming out soon. Yeah,
I would love to see them redo that with Aragon, because guess what? Fourth Wing is actually being picked up for a TV show.
Yeah.
So
I think sometimes when you have almost like an excessive characters and like character development, like, you know, now that we have these streaming services and the ability to do these TV shows, even if you're making it just a 1-season miniseries, like there's so much more you can put in there, and you have the opportunity to really like stick more with the book and this incredible world that the author created. Like, I don't know.
Right. Because like when you do turn them into movies, you know, we've seen it with a lot of different book series that were turned into movies. They have to cut so much out, And then randomly, like the last book will be turned into 2 movies. And then you have an entire fandom that's like, hey, like, this isn't how it happens. Or like, what do you mean? No, like, this is what it's supposed to look like. And it's just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know where you want me to go with that, but
it's hard to squish it into 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have another one?
Okay, so this one is actually a suggestion from one of my children.
Ooh.
Wings of Fire by Sutherland. So the way this was explained to me is so it's a middle grade series, but it's all dragons all the time. Like that. So if you love dragons, I am told.
Great series.
Yes. So, my understanding is there's like 7 dragon families or tribes or whatever, and they each have their own special abilities. So I think there's like some dragons that maybe can like be underwater and, some of that stuff. But there's also a few like human dragon moments, but like the series itself is really all about the dragons. Like it's very focused on the dragons. The other cool thing is it has been coming out with some of the graphic novels now too.
Oh yeah.
So you have the chapter books, which, aren't there like 15 now? I think they're on like 15, 16,
if
something
not
like
more.
that.
Yeah.
There's a lot. But they're also starting with some of the graphic novels, which I know, people have a love-hate relationship with graphic novels. It's still reading. The story's still there. Kids especially are all at these different reading levels. So, if that's something that your student is into and you're okay with the content, like by all means, I don't see anything. I mean,
I think sometimes they can be less intimidating.
Yeah. And I know like my kids, for instance, like they love chapter books, but like graphic novels are a little more relaxing. And so like they tend to do both.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, hey, listen, as long as you're reading what you need to read for school and when they were younger, like you're getting those AR tests done, by all means, have a break.
Right.
I read all over the place too. And that's the whole thing. Like I like my heavy books, but then I need a break too.
Yeah.
So I think graphic novels kind of get a bad rap. And
Agreed.
I was flipping through one of them because it got returned the other day and like the illustrations are so beautiful. It's pretty cool to look at somebody's interpretation of a dragon.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's my middle grade one.
I love that.
Wings of Fire.
Love that your kids recommended it. So I thought it'd be fun to also talk about kids' books, like picture books, because listen, dragons are for all ages. There is no one age that can only read dragon books. And I love that. I love that dragons are so versatile.
And picture book dragons are so cute.
Oh, so cute. So I'm just going to read off a few that, and I've actually done these all for story time, because they're so fun, because dragon books are fun. So we have Dragons Love Tacos.
Yes.
There's there's a second book. And that's by Adam Rubin.
I was hoping that one would be on your list.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, who doesn't love tacos?
Right.
But dragons love tacos? Yes.
Yes. And so the whole book is just fun. Absolutely fun. And then the next one is Dragons Are the Worst by Alex Willan. And then the last one is There's a Dragon in Your Book by Tom Fletcher. I love dragon books. I especially love them for story time because I feel like kids get pretty familiar with all animals, pretty quickly, and dragons. And if it's a book that's funny and it's dragons, double plus.
I'm thinking about it. It's like, sometimes when people are like, if you could have like a superpower, what would it be? And it's like that age group, one of the first things they always say is like, I'd fly.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's the cool thing about dragons, right? Like they have wings and they can fly, but like they're not obvious. They're not a bird. Like they're.
And one thing about kids' books that I've always noticed is they always make dragons with like a huge belly. And it just cracks me up because I'm like, these dragons, they breathe fire, they fly, they do all these fun things, and then they got this huge belly. And especially when you're looking at like Dragons Love Tacos, because when they eat tacos, they have a full belly, but they don't like spicy salsa, just so we're clear. They don't like jalapenos, I think it is. So just a heads up, everyone. So when you have a dragon over, don't have jalapenos. Anyways, so did you have one for kids?
I did pick out one picture book because you had mentioned you might say some of your picture books. I remember when this came out, I was still working at the bookstore at the time, and we were really excited because when it was released, of course, we all knew the song, and like you could also get the CD with it. But it's Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter Yarrow. So it's from Peter, Paul, and Mary, and he had taken like this poem and he wrote this beautiful song for it. And the song itself is just like a super sweet adventure. But then when they put the picture book out, the illustrations were just so adorable and it was really sweet. And I don't know, I kind of love that one. I have a soft spot for it. So Puff the Magic Dragon.
Guys, I feel like we just took like a whole look at like all these different age groups for dragons. And I love it. I absolutely love that. That is amazing. Again, dragons are for everyone. Can't stress that enough. So, all right. I love this episode.
Sarah's so giddy right now. You can see her face.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so good. Okay. Well, I have one more question for you before we skedaddle on out of here. And that question is, what are you currently reading?
Okay. It's a book called The Favorites. And it's by Layne, Fargo.
Did Laura write a book about me? I'm kidding. Laura's our director.
It was returned by a patron.
Okay.
Who set it on the counter and said, Bethany, you have to read this. And I was like, oh, but I have so many things in my pile. But I looked at the cover, and you guys, I've said it before, I'm a sucker for a cover. Uh-huh. Like, it's just, and the cover it's not even necessarily like a color that I would always gravitate toward, but there was something about it that made me like look at it a little longer. And all of a sudden I could see the two people and the costumes, and I was like, oh boy. So I looked at it, and here is what I will say. It's sports, it's perfection, it's obsession, it's jealousy, and it's a little bit of Daisy Jones and the Six documentary style mixed in between. And it's also a little bit single white female, possibly. I'm not really sure. It is like, it just kind of sucked me in. So It takes place in the world of competitive ice dancing, which, remember when we read Carrie Soto is Back?
Yes.
Remember I read it and you were like, I don't know. And I was like, maybe you should. And you were like, I don't really care about tennis. I was like, but you might. That's kind of how I feel about this. I'm like, I didn't really know that I cared about competitive ice dancing, but here I am. I'm all in, and I don't know how this is going to end. So it's called The Favorites by Layne, Fargo.
I did see that cover, and that cover is really pretty.
Yeah.
I wonder if I would like it as an audiobook.
Maybe. I don't know how. I wonder if they would do multiple narrators, because you are kind of getting, especially with the sections that are like the documentary style, like where they're actually interviewing people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fascinating the way it's set up.
I mean, I loved when they did Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yeah, where it was like the multiple narrations.
Yeah, it was so cool.
I'd be curious. What are you reading?
What am I reading?
Does it have a cowboy in it?
Yeehaw. I'm currently reading Reckless by Elsie Silver, and this is actually the fourth book in the Chestnut Spring series, Cowboy Romances. Love it. But this one's about Winter and Theo, who are very friendly, end up getting pregnant. That friendly. But the book has made me cry like 3 times.
Wow.
I know. And she is a doctor and he's a bull rider, and we're going to see where this goes.
Okay.
Listen, it's a romance, so they're definitely ending up together. And something that I've noticed with this author, because I just started reading her stuff, is I kind of love that like the couples at the end of all of her books like end up engaged. Because like, you know, like typically contemporary romance books, they always end up together at the end for the most part. But like she takes it one step further, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna have happily ever after. Love it. Anyways, I'm really on a cowboy kick right now. I'm really on a cowboy kick.
I was like, you're in deep.
Anyways, like whole tattoo deep. Got a tattoo, guys. I got a tattoo. Anyways, with that being said, if you have any dragon books that you love, and we would absolutely love to hear what dragon books they are, because hey, I might read it. Who knows? Or if you also like cowboys or ice skating, we would love to hear it as well. But you can email us at themulberrylibrary@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, send us a message. You know, if you know us, you know we love talking about books and would absolutely probably talk for hours off the clock. And so with that,
Happy reading, Mulberry.